Hello, this is Julian with Coffee Reviews, and today I will be reviewing East Pole Coffee out of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm currently outside of their location on Otley Drive, and I will be trying their Juan Carlos Rodriguez Natural Guatemala. Let me go ahead and take a sip. And issues with the lid. It's a little hot, so I've been keeping the lid off. Let's give it a shot. Still a little hot. All right, let's go ahead and talk about this coffee. So this is a natural processed Guatemala. It sounded like maybe possibly anaerobic the way he was describing it to me. He said that they're fermenting the coffee, so it sounds like it's probably going to be an anaerobic processed coffee, maybe somewhere in between. And this is actually a very limited offering. They do not have it on their website. You can't purchase it on their website. I was trying to look for some information about this coffee on their website, but there's actually very little information about this coffee specifically. So being kind of that natural or anaerobic Guatemala, you can imagine I was super excited. All right, let's talk about East Pole real quick. Last time I was in Atlanta, I decided not to make the trip up here. And I think it's because even though, looking back, East Pole has a lot of notoriety for the city of Atlanta, the baristas I had spoken with didn't necessarily say anything amazing about this coffee roaster. Most people said it's probably the best we have in the city, but the city is just lacking in great coffee as a whole. And so I just kind of took that as there's no need to come up here. But the more I've kind of looked around, it seems like a lot of places are adding East Pole or using East Pole now. So it seems like they're definitely up and coming, at least in the city. Granted, I still haven't seen them outside of Atlanta anywhere. It seems like they're at least gaining some prominence within Atlanta. And the shop itself, so they had a drip option, 3 pour-over options. This was their special edition one, so of course I went with that. I'm not entirely sure what their drip was. Cool shirts. The coffee shop, it gets credit for being one of the nicer coffee shops I've seen in a while. I love the interior. There's a giant space for people to sit and drink coffee right next to the shop as well. The inside of the shop is really pretty. You can see the roasting in the background. They have their roaster right there behind the window. I love that. Love the aesthetic. The coffee shop, beautiful, beautiful coffee shop. I feel like this is hitting on point with everything I like out of a coffee roaster experience. Cool shop, a really unique offering, and multiples of those offerings. Cool shirts too, again. I just have to mention that again. I was just disappointed they didn't have it in my size. Alrighty, I'll take one more sip and we'll talk about the coffee itself. Okay, there's good and there's bad. The good news is I think it's well developed. Like, how do I describe this? I do get a lot of this kind of winey, at the same time citric feel. So I am getting quite a bit of, I still don't know how to describe this. Like there's a bit of there's fruit flavor to it. I get some stone fruits, specifically plums, a tiny bit of nectarines, and then I get this whole wine grape sort of finish to it, but it comes off as a little citric around the edges. I think it's coming from the finish on this coffee. And I can't tell if it's too much, but I feel like it's a decent balance actually. Like, you are kind of pushing it, but at the same time, it's not destroying you. It's not, I'm trying to find a good word, it's not going too far with the acidity. It's not overpowering everything else, the good parts of this coffee. It's certainly there, but I think as a whole the rest of the coffee kind of balances it out. I don't know how much a bag of coffee like this would run, but I think like this is one of those interesting coffees to me where I would be very curious to keep like going over this one, keep trying this one, to see if I can figure out just where the right spot is on this, because there's definitely a nice bit of potential in that like fruit forwardness, even if I'm not entirely the biggest fan of the finish in this coffee. it's a right in the middle. It's a good and a bad, and that's why I'm so conflicted on this. I'm gonna put the coffee roaster as a recommend. It's probably the best you're gonna find in Atlanta. It's a beautiful shop. It's worth a little bit extra of a trip out here for the coffee shop itself. And this coffee, if I'm on the edge, I'm probably gonna give it the recommend. I feel like that means there's a point and a peak in this coffee that's really, really nice. And maybe I'm a day early, maybe I'm a day late or something like that, and it's just throwing it off just the slightest bit for me. There's a lot to like about this coffee, and I'm not going to let the little things that I'm not the biggest fan of take away from it. I'll put the coffee in the recommend category. So both are recommends, and this right here has been a review of East Pole Coffee out of Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you for watching.